Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here. This is my review for The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 6. So we start off this episode with like a 6-year time jump. That's pretty crazy. I mean, The Walking Dead has never really had a lot of huge time jumps. The biggest one was this season, where from between Season 8 and 9 it was a year and a half. Then I think beyond that, the biggest time jump was between Season 2 and 3, which is like 8 months, because Lori went from barely being pregnant to being about to give birth. That was about 8 months. And then right after this past episode, where Rick, died, whatever, the show jumps ahead 6 years, and Judith is now, 8 years old, something like that. And a lot of things have changed. A lot of characters have changed. Some characters, like Maggie, could be dead. I don't know. It seems like a couple of things happened that we still don't know about. It seems like they don't want to trust new people at Alexandria. They don't want to let new people in. And it's because of something that happened. Rosita said something to Gabriel like, we don't let new people in after And at first I thought maybe it was Rick's death, but I think it's something else. Like, I thought that Rick's death is why Alexandria doesn't want to trust people. But I think there's some other things that happened that we don't know about that will be explained later on, like Michonne's scars, why they don't want to let new people in. So, there's still some unresolved mysteries that we're going to find out later on this season, probably. And that makes sense because 6 years have gone by. I mean, things probably happened in that 6 years. Even if it was kind of boring and there weren't a lot of villains or fights or anything, still, shit would have happened. 6 years in a zombie apocalypse, shit would have happened. So it makes sense that some bad things happened that we still don't know about. That might explain why Michonne has the scars, why they don't want to trust new people, shit like that. But this was a really, really, really good episode. I can't say this enough. Angela Kang is the answer to The Walking Dead. She is she's perfect. I mean, the last few years just have not been that good. Just the writing, the filler, the bad metaphors, just not good. I've said everything I needed to say about that, so I'm just going to move on and focus on how good this season has been. And it's really a shame that they had to get rid of Rick this season, because that's something that I think a lot of fans are going to be focused on, instead of how good the show is anyway. Even when the show had Rick, it wasn't good. It wasn't good for the past few years. And they've had Rick. Now they don't have Rick, but, and a lot of people are focused on that, and I understand that. But the show is really, really good. Angela Kang is doing a fantastic job. So, like I said, it's unfortunate that, she gets more creative control around the time that the lead character has to leave. So I just hope that as many people as possible give her a chance and give the show a chance to, tell stories with these characters without Rick, because, it is still The Walking Dead. It is still a zombie apocalypse, full of situations, bad people, good people. It's still an interesting world, even if it doesn't have Andrew Lincoln. They have the right person to tell this story. Angela Kang is just perfect. They have the right person to tell this type of story with. So it's unfortunate that we don't have Rick, but we have to give... I'm giving her a chance because I could not be happier with this season so far. 6 episodes in, we're almost halfway, and I could not be happier. There's been no filler. The writing has been good. The characters' dialogue has been good. It's been intense. I feel like there's more money being spent on the show. It's just been good. And I love the way this episode started with Michonne's monologue. Michonne is still talking to the ghosts of Rick or Carl or whatever. She's imagining Rick and Carl, and she's having conversations with them, and that's in character. I mean, she's done that before. You know, when she had the problems with the two guys, you know, she cut their jaws off and then took them with her to she took them with her around everywhere as protection, and then she told Rick in season 3 that she used to talk to her dead boyfriend. So that's in character for Michonne to be still talking to Rick and Carl. And someone on Facebook made a joke about how you know, Michonne loses Rick. Michonne thinks Rick is dead. 6 years later, she's still struggling and is hurt and is dealing with the loss. Lori thinks Rick is dead. 5 seconds later, she sleeps with someone else. Like, yeah, it's basically true. But you know, I don't hate Lori, but yeah, it's true. I mean, Michonne definitely. I mean, just imagine Lori 6 years later. I mean, she would have been married to Shane, probably had like 10 kids, been like, who's Rick? I mean, at the rate she was going. But like I said, I don't hate Lori, but I do think that's funny. But I love the opening of this episode where it showcases the main characters, you know, Carol, Daryl, and Michonne. Those are basically like the top 3 main characters at this point. I mean, I think they're like the top 3 billing, and I heard something about it. They all got their contracts changed because they're like the top 3 now with Rick and Maggie gone. But this episode basically shows Carol, Michonne, and Daryl, and Michonne is giving this monologue in the background to Rick, and she's digging through a car and she's finding a little statue of Rick, or just a little statue of someone that looks like Rick. And we see Daryl. He's on his own. He's been on his own for the past 6 years, you know, fishing, killing walkers. Carol's happy. She has long hair now. She's a little bit more optimistic. And I said a few videos ago that I didn't want them to take away that realist survival part of Carol, and they didn't. They let us know that even though she has long hair and she's a little more happy and optimistic, she's still Carol. She's still that person that burned Karen and David. She's still that person that blew up the sanctuary. She's still that person that acted like a helpless victim when she first came to Alexandria so that she could like sneak guns out and shit like that. She's still that Carol. She's just changed a little bit. Her hair is longer, but she's still the Carol that we all know and love. And I'm glad. I mean, they definitely let us know that Carol is still Carol. I mean, later on in the episode we see that. I'll get to that in a minute, but I love the way this episode opens, even though 6 years have gone by, and it seemed like from the first 5 episodes that things were looking up. You know, things were going to get better and better and better, and Rick had this vision for this new world and society coming back and giving everyone a chance and everyone working together and all life being valuable. And I thought that it would get happier and happier, and it seems like in the 6-year time skip, things got worse. For one thing, Rick's vision of every life counting, they're not doing that. They don't even want to give new people the slightest chance. And I'm guessing that's because something that happened during the 6 years that we haven't found out about. Maybe having something to do with Michonne's scars. I don't know. But you know, Rick's vision, it hasn't quite. It didn't quite happen. You know, the bridge never got rebuilt. I mean, Rick separated with Daryl to try to save that bridge, and I guess, you know, he did, you know, exit the show, whatever, heroically, because he shot the dynamite. So he sacrificed himself on the bridge to save everyone from the walkers. But you know, it's kind of sad that his vision for the bridge, you know, his vision for the saviors, working with everyone else, his vision for, you know, every life counting, you know, those things just are not happening. We know that the sanctuary pretty much got destroyed or just fell apart because Jed, one of the saviors, he says that it went bust. So the sanctuary is pretty much gone. And did we ever see the hilltop? I don't know. The kingdom's kind of starting to fall apart, and the kingdom and Alexandria aren't on the best terms, because Carol and Ezekiel talk about how this fair is a good thing because it might bring the communities back together. So I'm guessing that the kingdom and Alexandria had some clashing of ideas, and they kind of grew apart. So things aren't completely getting better. Some things have gotten worse. Some things aren't, happy anymore. And Rick's vision didn't completely come true. So I like that this episode kind of has some dark elements to it. I mean, 6 years ahead, you thought that maybe things would just continue to get better and better, but they didn't. Some things got worse. Like the kingdom, it seemed like it got worse than it was in the first 5 episodes. So I like that this episode sort of has some realistic dark things. Even though the world is kind of starting to come back, nature is starting to take the world back, and maybe the zombies aren't as bad anymore, but there's still a lot of problems, and that's realistic. It's not just sunshine and rainbows, but there's still moments of hope. Michonne says that there's still little moments of light that are just enough to keep them going. With Michonne, it's that little Rick figure. With Daryl, there's a walker that's pretty much attached to a tree, like he's pretty much grown as a part of the tree, and there's a worm coming out of him, and a bird gets it, gives it to its baby worm. The bird gets it, gives it to its baby birds, and that's a moment of hope. So it's kind of a dark episode, but there's still moments of hope in it, and I really like how Angela King handled that. As far as a 6-year time jump in this episode, sort of showing everything after that, I don't think it could have been much better. I think Angela King did a really good job, and she's been doing a really good job. All of season 9 has pretty much been really good. I think there was one episode, episode 4, I think, which I thought was a little weak, but it's still good. But overall, this season so far has been just great. And I hope they keep Angela King, because they need to. She is the answer. Angela King is the answer to The Walking Dead. For those of us that have been sort of struggling with The Walking Dead, maybe it's because a favorite character died. I mean, Glenn, Abraham, Carl, Sasha. I think a lot of people really a lot of us had a favorite character in that group that died the last few seasons, and just the show getting worse and the quality getting worse, and we've held on. We kept watching. I remember when Abraham died. Abraham was my favorite character. He still is. I did the hard thing. I kept watching. What did I get? The rest of season 7 and season 8. Do I even need to say anything else? I kept watching after Abraham died, and I got season 7 and 8. And then I continued to keep watching. So there's for those of us that have been hanging on to the railings, desperately hanging on, because we want The Walking Dead to be good. We want The Walking Dead to at some point be good again. Well, now it's finally good. Like I said, Angela King is the answer to that. She's the just calling from the sky that we've been waiting for. I mean, because there's a lot of people that are still, even when The Walking Dead wasn't good, we kept watching. We wanted it to get better. We didn't want to give up. We just felt this need to keep watching, this need to stay with it, and now we got it. We got that payoff, and that's Angela King, because she's been doing fantastic. But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting about her. I just want everyone to understand that she is just great, and she is what The Walking Dead has been needing for years, because I don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want her to leave. I don't want her to get replaced. We need to keep her, because she's the answer. But as far as the rest of the episode goes, it was really good. Judith, the actress that played her, is just awesome. Like, she's a really strong little actress. And I love how Judith is just so optimistic and hopeful, and you know, she wanted to help these strangers just because they needed help. She's got a lot of Rick and Carl in her character. She's got that natural wanting to do the right thing. I have not liked a kid this much since Newt from Aliens. Like, Judith is a badass. And I love what she says to Negan later on about how she lets him help her do her math problems because it doesn't matter if he's a good or bad person, the numbers don't care. Like, she's a sassy little kid, like, damn. And the actress is doing a fantastic job. I can't wait to see her character go on for the next few years because she's awesome. I mean, she's not Andrew Lincoln. I like her more than Carl. I mean, I like her more than Carl. That's just me. I was never the hugest Carl fan. So yeah. I mean, I like Judith. I mean, I don't think she's going to be the main character. I don't think the show's going to have a main character, but I think she's going to have a big role. And I really like what they're doing with her so far. Her writing and her story and the actress. It's been really good. So with Ezekiel and Rosita, I'm going to make a video about this, but I still think Ezekiel and Rosita are going to die, and this episode kind of, it added a little bit to that, to my beliefs, because Rosita's in a relationship with Gabriel, and she seems happy, and being happy and being in a relationship, that tends to get you killed on this show. Same thing with Ezekiel. He has this like dramatic moment with Henry, and Henry even says, "You're acting like we're never going to see each other again." And I'm like, damn. It's so obvious though. They might be they might not kill Ezekiel, because like I know they expect the fans to say, "Well, Henry just said that, so Ezekiel's gonna die." I mean, maybe it's too obvious. Maybe they want us to think it's too obvious, and then they're gonna do it. Overall, I still think Ezekiel and Rosita are going to die. They're both in a relationship with someone. They're both happy right now. I kind of feel like Ezekiel and Rosita, their stories are kind of coming to a close. I mean, Ezekiel's he's married to Carol. Carol's actually a little bit more like Ezekiel now. There was a scene where Ezekiel was wanting to sort of be realistic, and Carol was the one that was like, you gotta like let the light come in through the cracks. Like, it's something that Ezekiel would have said to Carol, but instead it was Carol saying it to Ezekiel. So I feel like Ezekiel's character is kind of coming full circle. I don't know how much more story he's gonna have. I do think there's a good chance he's gonna get his comic death. I think there's gonna be the heads on spikes in it's a season finale. That's gonna be the season finale. The heads on spikes, the border, and it's gonna be Ezekiel and Rosita. Those are gonna be two of them. With Rosita, her relationship with Gabriel. It's a big thing with Rosita is that I think she always felt like she wasn't appreciated. Like she's really she's a really tough survivor. She's very skilled. I mean, I would marry her in a split second. I mean, she's a badass, but that's beside the point. She's a fictional character. I shouldn't say that, but she's awesome. And like, there was times where I think she felt like she wasn't appreciated. You know, she was really close to Abraham, and she was getting close to Sasha. They're both dead. So a lot of the characters that Rosita was close to, they got killed. She was close to Eugene, but Eugene got taken away. Eugene became a villain. She wanted to kill him. And now she's with Gabriel, and Gabriel actually appreciates her. You know, he appreciates how awesome she is. So that kind of points to her story concluding, because she's in a new relationship, and she's with someone that appreciates her being a badass. Oh, and then she tragically gets killed off. You know, like, I think they could be going for that. And let me make this clear: I don't want Rosita or Ezekiel to die. I'm just saying what I think is going to happen. So, yeah. And what else? So we got the new group, and I liked all 5 of them. I mean, Yumiko has said one sentence so far, so we don't know her very well yet. You know, she spent most of the episode being unconscious because she injured her head. But so we don't know too much about her. She, like I said, she literally just said one sentence. But the other 4, I love all 4 of them. I love all 4 of them. I like Luke. Luke's awesome. He's another character that I feel like they're gonna. He's one of the heads in the comics. He's one of the heads on Spikes, and I do think that he's gonna get his comic death because I feel like that they gave him more dialogue than they gave Magna, or close to it. Out of the 5 characters, Luke and Magna definitely had the most dialogue. I mean, I guess what's her name? Connie. She doesn't count, but. Magna and Luke got a lot of dialogue, and I think they're going to give Luke his comic death because he's very hopeful. He talked about how he was I think a music teacher, but he still wants to educate people because education never ends, even though it's the apocalypse. So it's like he's got that hopeful attitude, and he's the one that's like talking the rest of the group out of being angry and, you know, trying to fight when Michonne wants to kick them out. So I think they're gonna have him get his comic death, and I think that's gonna be the finale. So that's still 10 episodes away. So they have time to develop Luke and then give him his comic death. They have time to develop Rosita and Ezekiel, give them their comic death. So they still have some time left before, you know, they're gonna get a little bit more character development. I think before their heads are gonna be on the spikes. But like I said, I liked the new characters. I liked Connie. I liked her. What's it called? Her doing the hand gestures and then us reading the dialogue. Like some of the things that were kind of funny, like that she was saying, or whatever you want to call it. But she seems pretty funny, and I like Kelly. I like Kelly and Connie's relationship. It seems like they look out for each other. And Magna's pretty interesting. She seems a little bit darker than she was in the comics, but with The Walking Dead, you know, the characters in the comics and then the version of them in the TV show, there's usually some differences, but the essence of the character is the same. And with Magna, I feel like the essence of her is the same as the comics. Because if you read the comics, Magna has this like tough survivalist type of attitude. When someone dies, she just keeps going. When bad things happen, she just keeps going. She adapts. You know, this latest issue, she's talking to Yumiko about how she can't relax, she can't rest because she's just wondering when the next thing goes wrong, when there's going to be another war. That's her character. She's just this like hardcore survivalist, realist, and that's who she is in this episode. But she also went to prison. So I think they're making her a little darker. And I don't know about her relationship with Yumiko. It seemed like when they were taking Yumiko away, she was very anxious to follow her and be with her. So I think they're gonna have their relationship. I don't see why not. So yeah, I think Magna and Yumiko are gonna be in a relationship like the comics. So yeah, I liked how they were handled. I liked how they were introduced, and yeah, just overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm trying to think of what else to say. I like Michonne finding Magna's tattoo and then seeing the knife she had hidden. Like, that was badass. Like, Michonne is like, she's the type of person that just spots the things that no one else spots, and I thought that was really badass. And the thing with Eugene and Rosita, them going out, then there's a herd, and then they got hide under the mud, and when we finally get that scene with the whispers, that was awesome. that, I mean, we've known about it for months and months now, but it was awesome. I'm glad we're finally getting to the Whispers. It's a shame that we're not going to have Rick. Rick's not going to have anything to do with the Whispers. By the time Rick comes back to the show, if he comes back for the show, I'm sure the Whispers are going to be gone and dealt with. We'll probably be done with the Whispers by season 11. They might be a part of season 11, I don't know, but they'll probably be done by then, and I don't think Rick's going to come back this soon. I think they might bring him back in the last season because they kept him alive for a reason. I think eventually he's going to come back, and they're going to try to give him and Michonne a happy ending. I think if they're not doing that, why didn't they just kill him? He had like a beautiful death scene in episode 5, so I think Rick's going to eventually come back. But I think it's a shame that he's not going to be dealing with the Whispers. I would have loved to have seen Andrew Lincoln deal with the Whispers. I was so... A few months ago, before the news that he was leaving broke out, I was so excited for Andrew Lincoln walking around the heads, seeing each character on the spikes, and Andrew Lincoln's face, you know, during that scene. I mean, just with him, the way he acted when Glenn and Abraham died, I mean, just imagine this. I mean, that would have been fantastic. I could just picture it in my head. His face when he's seeing the 12 heads on spikes, and that being like the last episode, the last scene of the season. Then we start season 10, but I mean, he's gone. He's not a part of the story anymore. Oh well, I'm still excited for the Whispers, but and then with Carol, oh my goodness. Yeah, she likes her fire, doesn't she? She likes her gasoline. Old habits die hard. Holy shit. I do feel like it was almost too fast how that plot point came up with Jed and Regina and the other saviors, you know, taking Carol's stuff. And then Carol going after them and burning them to death. It almost seemed like it happened really, really fast. Like Jed and Regina had been like kind of major sort of antagonistic type characters since the beginning of the season. And in this episode, they just come back for 5 seconds, cause some problems, then Carol kills them. Like, it almost seemed rushed. But I think that just kind of goes with the fact that this show has so much story that it's doing right now that they're not wasting time. They almost have to do things too fast in order to get things done. If this was Scott Gimple, we would have had Jed and Regina. Like, we would have had a bottle episode about Jed and Regina. Jed and Regina would have caused problems for 3 seasons, and then they would have finally died. There would have been so much filler. Angela Kang, no, that bitch has things to do. Like, Carol's just gonna burn you all to death. We gotta move on to the next plot point. Like, I like that. I like that they're not wasting time. They have so many ideas, so many plot points, that they have to have Carol just get them out of the way, you know? And it was great to see Carol go back to her gasoline ways. I mean... I'm glad that we got to see her do that again, and I mean, they deserved it. It was just a badass Carol moment, and I think it was a good idea. Literally, the first episode we get Carol with super long hair. That's something that a lot of people are going to be focused on. You know, Carol's got super long hair. She looks like a Lord of the Rings elf chick thing. Why does she have long hair? It's weird. You know, Rick's leaving and now Carol's got long hair. What the fuck? And this is their way of saying, no, it's all right. It's Carol. It's still Carol. She changed her hairstyle. It's still Carol. And then she pours gasoline on a bunch of saviors and burns them to death. And like, oh, nope, it's the same character. We got it. It's just hair. It's not a big deal, you know. So, yeah. Overall, I really loved this episode. I just loved how it was handled. I loved the writing, the introduction of the new people, pretty much the introduction of Judith, even though she was introduced last episode. This is the first episode where we got to really get to know her, and I love it. I love this entire season so far. I cannot wait for the next 10 episodes and for the Whisperers. I'm just so happy that The Walking Dead is being written like it's supposed to be. They finally got the right person in charge of The Walking Dead that has the right passion for the story and for the characters and understands what it's supposed to be. This is what The Walking Dead is supposed to be. This is what Season 1 and maybe Season 2 were. This, you know, far and away, I'd say the three best seasons are Season 1, 2, and 9. Because of the writing. The writing is the most realistic in those seasons. And you know, Season 2 had, you know, they kind of basically just chilled out on a farm because they had no budget, but it had character development and good writing. So I'm just glad that came back this year in this season, and I'm glad that The Walking Dead is finally what it's supposed to be. I hope to God they keep Angela King. I hope to God The Walking Dead doesn't get canceled. I'm a little worried because, you know, Rick left, and I think that a lot of fans are gonna be focused on that. But they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him. You know, I think that's slightly better. And that was Andrew Lincoln's decision. That wasn't, Angela King had no say in that matter. So I hope that everyone gives Angela King a chance, because she's perfect. I am just so happy with how these past 6 episodes have been. I think the Season 9 it's the revival of The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead is back, plain and simple. And I just hope that they keep Angela King, because I think as long as they keep Angela King, not only is the rest of Season 9 going to be great, but Season 10 is going to be great. Season 11 is going to be great. Think about it. There hasn't been a single episode that has been bad in this season. Not even mediocre. Could you say that about the previous few years? I mean, I couldn't even go 2 episodes without yawning. So I hope everyone gives her a chance, because this show is back. The Walking Dead is back, and I'm just so happy that we've had to hang on through all the bullshit for so long, and it's finally, this is it. This is that payoff. The show is good again. So anyway, that's all I got for this review. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't be shy, hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 182 subscribers. I am trying to get to 200 in the next few weeks. So if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button. We make a lot of content. And share this channel with anyone. It doesn't matter, just tell them to subscribe, because we're getting very close to that goal of 200, and I really appreciate all of you that have subscribed so far. So hopefully we can get to 200 soon. We're just 18 people away. That's nothing. That is nothing. Like, we're already there. Like, we're already at 200, basically. So I can't wait to get to 200. We're going to get there. It's a fact at this point, and we're going to get there soon. So can't wait to get to that goal. Thanks to all of you that have supported this channel. I promise that it's only going to get better from here. There's going to be more content. I'm going to start getting a little better at editing. There's some software things I might buy. I'm going to start doing some video game playthroughs. And then there's my first independent film, which should be out at some point next year. So I'm very excited for that. So yeah, very exciting things ahead. But with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!